Hey, it's Sally, and for the next few minutes, I want to talk to you in a calm and honest way about something that can feel confusing and emotionally heavy. Sometimes in a relationship, you may sense that something has changed, but you can't quite explain it. This isn't about jumping to conclusions or creating fear where there is none. It's about understanding patterns in human behavior so you can respond with clarity instead of anxiety. Before we go any further, take a moment to ground yourself. Relationships naturally go through phases, and not every shift means something is wrong. Stress, fatigue, and emotional overwhelm can all influence how someone behaves. What matters is not a single moment, but consistent patterns over time. When you observe with patience instead of panic, you give yourself the best chance to understand what's really happening. Let's begin with something subtle but powerful: eye contact. The way we look at someone we feel deeply connected to is often steady, warm, and present. It creates a sense of safety and mutual understanding. When that connection changes, the eyes can reflect it before words ever do. You might notice that conversations that once felt engaging now feel slightly disconnected. The gaze may drift more often, not just occasionally, but repeatedly, especially during meaningful moments. This isn't about someone simply being distracted once or twice. Everyone has off days. But when there's a consistent shift, it can signal that something internal is changing. Emotionally, the brain works hard to manage conflicting feelings, and sometimes that shows up as difficulty maintaining eye contact. It's not something people usually do on purpose. It's often automatic, a quiet reflection of what's going on beneath the surface. Another small detail to notice is the reaction when eye contact is suddenly re-established. If there's a brief moment of tension, a quick look away, or a smile that feels slightly out of sync, it may indicate discomfort. Again, this doesn't confirm anything on its own, but it's a signal worth observing with care rather than judgment. The key here is awareness, not accusation. When you stay present and attentive, you begin to see patterns more clearly. And clarity, more than anything, helps you protect both your emotional well-being and the health of your relationship. Now let's gently move into physical awareness, because the body often communicates things that words leave unsaid. One area that can reflect subtle change is sensitivity to touch, especially around the neck, upper chest, and shoulders. These are naturally sensitive zones connected to the nervous system, and they respond not only to physical contact, but also to emotional comfort. In a secure and relaxed connection, touch in these areas is usually welcomed. It feels familiar, calming, and reassuring. But if you begin to notice a repeated shift, such as flinching, pulling away, or a slight tension when you reach out, it may sankeet that something internally feels different for her. The body can become more guarded when it is processing emotional conflict or stress, and this response is often unconscious. It's important to approach this observation with care. Physical sensitivity can also increase due to completely unrelated reasons, like fatigue, hormonal changes, or even general stress. That's why context matters. Look for consistency rather than reacting to a single moment. If this response becomes a pattern, it's something to be aware of, not something to immediately judge. You might also notice small behavioral adjustments, like changes in how she styles her hair or clothing around the neck and chest area. Sometimes people instinctively create a sense of comfort or protection around areas that feel emotionally charged. Again, this doesn't point to a single conclusion, but it adds to the overall picture you are quietly observing. Let's also talk about something deeply human: the way we hug. A genuine hug is more than just physical contact. It's a moment where the body relaxes, breathing slows, and there is a natural sense of closeness. When that emotional connection is strong, hugs tend to feel warm, unforced, and present. If that begins to change, you may feel it immediately. The hug might become shorter, less engaged, or slightly distant. Instead of a full, relaxed embrace, it may feel more like a quick gesture. Sometimes there's a subtle gap in body alignment, or a sense that the connection is not fully there. These are small cues, but they can carry emotional meaning. Also pay attention to spontaneous touch throughout the day. Little gestures like a hand on your arm, fixing your shirt, or reaching for your hand are often signs of comfort and affection. If those moments quietly disappear over time, it may reflect a shift in emotional focus or energy. Through all of this, remember to stay grounded. You are not looking for proof. You are simply noticing patterns with calm awareness. That mindset keeps you steady and helps you respond thoughtfully instead of reacting MTVKH emotion alone. Let's now look at a few final signals that are gentle but meaningful when observed over time. One of them is changes in personal care and scent. As human beings, we often create small rituals around how we present ourselves, especially when we want to feel noticed, appreciated, and confident. This can include a new fragrance, different skincare habits, or extra attention to appearance. There's nothing unusual about wanting to feel good in your own skin. In fact, it's healthy. But if you notice a sudden and consistent shift that feels disconnected from your shared routine, it's worth quietly paying attention. The key is not the change itself, but whether that effort is still being shared within the relationship or feels directed elsewhere. Awareness here should come from curiosity, not suspicion. Another subtle but powerful area is breathing and physical comfort when you're close together. When someone feels safe and emotionally at ease, their breathing tends to be slow, steady, and relaxed. The body naturally settles. But when there is inner tension, the nervous system can shift into a more alert state. This may show up as slightly faster or shallow breathing, even during calm moments. You might also notice small patterns of physical distance. Perhaps there's always an object placed between you while sitting, or sleeping positions have changed in a way that creates space where there used to be closeness. These are not dramatic actions, but they can reflect an internal need for distance that the person may not even fully understand themselves. Now, it's very important to bring everything together with balance and compassion. Seeing one or two of these signs does not mean something is wrong. Life brings stress, emotional ups and downs, and personal changes that can affect behavior in many ways. What matters is the overall pattern and how it evolves over time. More importantly, your response matters just as much as what you observe. Instead of jumping to conclusions, choose open and respectful communication. Create a space where honesty feels safe rather than threatening. When you approach the situation calmly, you give both yourself and your partner the chance to understand what's truly going on. At the end of the day, clarity is not about proving something negative. It's about finding peace within yourself. Whether that peace comes from reassurance or from facing a difficult truth, you deserve to feel secure, respected, and emotionally steady in your relationship.